Hello, my friends, and today we are going to talk about Dwarven Civil War. Now, this is a somewhat rare and esoteric topic, but it can completely change gameplay if and when it comes up. It is sometimes procedurally generated, I would argue correctly. It is often sometimes introduced as a bug or something that needs to be fixed. Now, first, to understand Dwarven Civil War, we have to talk about how Dwarven societies exist, how they're formed, and how the structure works. There is a mountain home that has the nobility, has the monarch, and you, when you're starting a new game in Dwarf Fortress, you are creating a new outpost from the mountain home. So picture like a hub, the spokes of a wheel, and the mountain home is the center of that civilization, and you're making a new radial exploration. Now, of course, if your map gets big enough, you can become the mountain home. The monarch and the nobles will move to your map, and then that becomes the hub of that Dwarven civilization. Now that we have that out of the way, what is Dwarven Civil War? Dwarven Civil War, again, it can be procedurally correct, you might argue. It's also pretty easy to argue that it can be introduced in ways which are not procedurally correct and so are bugged. In my case, the footage you're going to see today, I'm going to argue that I did it to myself, that it was basically procedurally correct. That I'm not going to call this a bug in this case, but I'm going to walk you through what happens and how to fix it, which, again, is miraculously easy with DFHack. To my knowledge, it's impossible to resolve Dwarven Civil War without DFHack, and I think that's why it's mostly treated as a bug, although it does have some procedural nature to it. So in the engine of the game, what is a civil war? A civil war is where the player's civilization has declared war on itself, and that kind of tracks, right? I mean, a civil war is a civilization declaring war on itself. The problem here is that the way that the game handles events is that a civilization you're at war with, it will spawn enemies and armies and attackers, raiders, things that are appropriate, and send them at you. And there's not really code, at least to my knowledge, I haven't seen it yet. There's not really code for the dwarves to do that to themselves exactly. Correct me in the comments if that's wrong. I've never been raided by dwarves personally. But so in this case, now your dwarven community is declaring war on itself. So the rules that now your mountain home is engaging in relation to your map is it doesn't know how to send soldiers, like a warring state. But what it is going to do, it's going to cut off all of your trade caravans, so no more liaison, no more check-ins from the mountain home. That caravan's never going to come back, and no more migrants. Nobody wants to move. It's nebulous, and this is another part where people say it's kind of more of a bug than a feature. It's nebulous why no migrants would ever occur, but you can imagine either that like your city is completely removed from polite society in the mountain home, or, maybe, who knows, maybe you're just on the wrong side and the mountain home hates you now. But so the result is absolutely after your initial two waves. So if you don't know how immigration works in Dwarf Fortress, and that's also really important in this context. So when you start a new map, you go with 7 settlers in normal settings, and then you get 2 guaranteed waves of migrants that come seasonally, the next summer or within the first few years at the latest. And then after that, it becomes procedurally generated, where migrants will just come in based on your wealth. It'll occasionally check and it'll bring you new dwarves from your civilization. But they won't do that during Civil War, and because there is no way to wage war in the game such that you can resolve the Civil War. I mean, you could raid the enemy civilizations that are next to you. You could raid your own mountain home, I think. But there's nothing in the game that would be like, okay, you have taken over the mountain home and now you are the king by force. That doesn't exist in the game yet. So the only way that you're going to be able to fix this is via DFHack again. But once you have DFHack installed, it is a very simple command, all one word, fix/civil-war. Fix/civil-war. I believe, and I think it is a slash as opposed to a backslash. But anyway, I'll leave that. That's going to be in my video description, so you can grab that. My sources, how I figured this out and shot what was happening, that'll all be in the references. And the troubleshooting was really, really important for this, because I realized after like 6 years maybe, I was like, okay, this is really weird. There's no migrants coming. And then when you Google that problem, you'll find so many people who have the same problem. It's a really common thing where the migrants just completely dry up. But most of them can be fixed via specifically tailored DFHack fixes, and a lot of them are can be fixed within game. Like a common one that you should try early on is just to break down your trade depot and then build it back up, because a big reason that traders and migrants stop happening is because there's a merchant, or there's like a horse that belonged to a merchant or something that is now stuck on your map somewhere. It's like in a cage. Maybe you attacked a merchant and one of its horses fled, and it fled into a cage trap or something like that. And now just in one of your animal stockpiles or out on the pasture is a horse that is now coded such that some merchant event has never ever ended. And because the game is still waiting, 10 years later on that merchant event to end, you're not going to get merchants and you're not going to get migrants. So you kind of have to do a few things. Like, so in my example with breaking down the trade depot, what that does is it resets, any merchant events that might be stuck. And that has helped before, but I was trying that, it wasn't working. And finally, I was just applying every fix in DFHack. And I think one of the links I'm going to include is like from the Reddit Dwarf Fortress community, and it was saying something like, it was like PSA, and then in the comments they specifically mentioned that Civil War was the fix. And I was like, and this is another reason why it's more of a bug than a feature right now in the current version, is you don't really get an alert. It doesn't say like, hey, by the way, your civilization is at war, and so you're not going to get it doesn't explain it. It's just quietly, this happens, and you realize 6 years into your fortress later that that might have been what it was. So, but the nice thing about DFHack is that if you do have a civil war going on, it will confirm it. It's actually going to give you a text output that says like one self-warring instance has been resolved, or I forget how it says it exactly. And then when you go to enter it again, it's going to say no civil war is found, or something like that. And so you'll know that was the problem and it fixed it. And I've confirmed on this map now, I've been using the migrants now command, that migration is fixed, trading is fixed. It was just a civil war issue on my map. And so I'm going to circle way back to where I said that this one might have been my fault. And the reason that I say that is, you'll probably seen some of this footage, the earlier footage. Part of what I want to do in this map is I want to play it for 100 in-game Dwarven years. And so that really encouraged me to troubleshoot and bug fix this map, because that was going to stop me from being able to do that. So I really looked into this one, and I realized that what I had been doing, an additional part of the 100 years to make it interesting, was I wanted to start a blood feud with the nearby elves. So I was cutting down all the trees, and then every time the elves sent a diplomat to be like, hey, you're cutting down too many trees, this is a warning, we would murder the diplomat as well. I feel bad now that I say that, but it's all pretend. Again, this is all just pretend. And I was trying to make like a blood feud narrative, so I was really antagonizing the nearby elves as much as I could. And I think in one of those, the merchants came while we were doing something weird with the elves, and I feel like I was getting merchants killed and murked and trapped. I feel like I was making a lot of bad stuff happen on the overworld, where this could have been totally my bad. But or even so, if in any of those situations, I think what probably made it a civil war was that I probably accidentally directly targeted something that belonged to my liaison's merchant. And so that would be like a proper cause of a civil war, right? Like my settlement attacked the government officials that came to visit it. That's us declaring war on the mountain home. So I think that might have been what happened, is I was going so Rambo, going so crazy on the surface, attacking any merchants that came, that I might have accidentally gone after my own liaison and legitimately triggered the civil war in that case. I'm not sure. It's really cool if you check out DFHack and stuff. It's cool. You can see how the debuggers work, and the really good thing about that is that you kind of see where the issues are coming from. It really helps with troubleshooting. So I ran fix/general-strike, fix general strike, which I made a video about much earlier, and it is confirmed to be a real bug that is being worked out now. But I ran that on this map just to check it, and it said fixed, found 0 bad seeds. So I had no idea what was causing it before, but now that gives me a hint that there's some issue of seeding sources. So I'm imagining, I know that like priests and militia captains, certain nobles have been known to cause it because they'll pull everyone into the temple even when there's work to be done, but like something like that. So, but now it can check to see if there's like those bad influences basically for the general strike. Really cool stuff like that. That's all I have for today. I did get the general strike fixed. The idea for this map is that I'm going to play it for 100 years if I can. I'm probably going to keep hitting bugs, but I'm going to try to... I'm really being careful. I'm not opening any caverns. I'm not opening the magma sea. I'm not digging down into the circus. I'm not doing anything that could cause it to be a terrible FPS, 3 decades in the future. I'm doing like very limited waterworks, like almost no running water. So stay tuned for that. Eventually, hopefully, I can make a video that I'm going to title 100 Years of Dwarfitude or something like that. Thank you for listening. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And yeah, I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch with the century map for sure, as long as I can keep fixing the bugs as they come. All right, goodbye, everybody.